Hi guys, how you going? Campbell here from Autodidactic channel. Autodidactic. T-shirts available. Links in the description. How you all going? So today I wanted to have a bit of a look at some cities and towns in Australia, and something I've just been looking at with canals and water. And I watched the interview or the chat between Martin and UAP, and UAP said that he was talking to an architect who said that he'd seen a book and it had pictures of columns. There's my kitty cat in the background. It had pictures of columns with full of gears and cogs and things, and on the top of them were statues, and these cogs and the machinery turned the statues, and the theory was that they were all, sort of, these are these statues of angels and different things we see, and that they were all basically showing what was going on, in the sky and the stars with the different shifts. So yeah, they were there giving news on, astrological events and what was going on in the skies, and it's, I guess, all to do with it, as above so below, and how the energies from above do affect us. So this was all to do with, so they were getting their news, this was their news because it was all at the fountains. They'd go and get their water from the fountains every morning, and they'd have these statues that would, be turning or facing different directions, and that would tell them what was coming up for the days. And even, apparently it was even sectioned out to sort of hourly what would go on. So I found that really interesting, and it does make a lot of sense. It's a big sort of key, that one, I think. So I was actually looking at these towns before I saw that video. So just have a look at it. And I'm just sort of going to show you just some of the markers that you can see of old world cities, even when there's not much left. Maybe a few buildings, there's still markers, and a lot of that has to do with the water and the canals. All right, guys, enjoy. And Craig Green sent me this link. Now this is from Australia, in Newcastle on the east coast. Work uncovers window to the past. And this is the photo. I don't think it gets any bigger. Oh, maybe it does. And as you can see, this is a cobblestone road, and it's, about a foot, 30 centimeters under the existing road. And you can't see it well there, but they say it's, it's a very well laid road, and they were just digging. And this was the council. And I mentioned this in another video I did, that it's interesting that even the councils of these places don't know what's just under the ground here. So it says, history has been unearthed on a Lake Macquarie worksite with hopes the local community might help shed light on the story behind the discovery. Crews undertaking excavation work this week as part of a shared pathway construction project in Argentan uncovered a quaint cobblestone road curving around Queen Street and heading towards what is now a very busy Lake Road. Lake Macquarie City Council Manager Assets Management, Brenda Callender, said work was immediately stopped once the discovery was made, with surrounding cobblestone then carefully excavated. The road isn't on any plans, so it came as quite a surprise to the crew working on this project. It is also exciting uncovering something like this. It provides a window into our past and stirs the imagination. What life might have been like back then. Back then. When's then? They don't even know. An archaeologist from environmental consultants Umwelt visited the site to take photographs. Mr. Callender said the stone material used in the old road's construction was extremely solid and heavy, with parts appearing to display fossilized leaves. Working out the type of rock might reveal where it came from. The earliest land grants in Argentan date back to 1838 when it was known as Hampton. The area was subdivided in 1841 but took off in 1896 when they started making sulfide. So back in 1838 it had a different name as well, the town, which is interesting. But basically, so they've uncovered this, a part of this road, and they're saying that it curves all the way around to one of the major roads near the lake. They don't know what it was, who built it. They didn't even know it was there. And yeah, it's under the ground like so much of this stuff. Why is it all under the ground? So I thought we'd take a look at Argentan. And this is here on the east coast of Australia, inland from Newcastle. And Newcastle, isn't it interesting that we have the same names all over the place? Whoops. Okay, so this is Argentan, and I just wanted to show you this because I had a look and I found it very interesting. And this is becoming a very site, a very familiar kind of layout. We have this, I don't know if you can see, this is the river. Come on, Google Earth. Up here, around here, and then down around there as well. It actually comes down the side here. And as you can see, it's got, dug out bits. It's clearly man-made. There's bits coming down here, bits coming down here. Straight bits, nice perfect curves. And in a lot of the old world cities, we see this, and we see this shape. And the cities built around them. And normally there's a canal sort of through here. So there may have been, and it may be covered up. And of course, this is a golf course. Golf courses have been mentioned by Michelle Gibson and John Levi and Martin Leedke have also touched on them. I'm sure other people have as well. And the reason is that you see golf courses a lot near old construction, and especially old forts, star forts. Well, they're not really forts, we know that, but the old stars, what we're told are star forts. And here is big golf course right along the riverfront, and we have this river that clearly looks man-made. It's got straight bits in it, perfect curves, down here, completely straight. These funny little bits coming off it. Clearly looks made. I mean, look at this bit here, don't know what's going on there. And of course we have a big mine here, so don't know what was there in the past. It doesn't look like a very big town. I mean, let's go. I have got something else I'm going to show you in a tick, but I just wanted to see what the buildings are like down here. But I don't know, do you think that's the main street? Let's go have a look. Oh, yes. Okay, so this is Argentan. God, I don't think this is the main street. Maybe it is. These just look like 70s building. That's definitely not the kind of hotel you normally see. A hotel in Australia is a pub or a bar. Normally in country towns, they're the big Tartarian architecture. So this looks like it's all been wiped clean, basically, and rebuilt in the 70s and 60s. Not much here. Okay, so we have this town. They've found, they've unearthed this old cobblestone paving. We have, I've lost my view, there we are. Oh gosh. We have this golf course. Sorry, Google Earth is being annoying. Okay. So we have the canals, which are becoming a big part of this. Also, did I mention, it said in this article, pretty sure it was this one. No, maybe it was something else I was reading. Okay, I have found it. Steam trams. I remember I saw it somewhere. I don't know where, but I found this. This is Lake Macquarie history, libraries, blah, blah, blah. And it gives us a bit early settlers, early industry, early transport. In 1912, the steam tram line to Spears Point was opened. The line ran down the centre of what is now the main street, but at that time it was a double avenue. So they've made it, they've filled it in. It's not as wide as it used to be, is what they're saying. Hampton Avenue on the east line and Jersey Avenue on the west. From Argentan, it crossed the Winding Creek to Frederick Street, Edgeworth. The steam tram gave Argentan transport connections with both Wallsend and West Wallsend. So that's pretty interesting. They also had a steam tram system in here. Haven't really heard too much about the steam trams, but obviously a tram line, a tram system. Maybe they just had lost the electricity. Now, it doesn't really say populations here, but I'm thinking, in, what was it, 1912 in rural New South Wales? I'm not thinking there's going to be too many people living there. And it also says here the railway was opened in 1887, but as Argentan had not yet been subdivided, no station was provided. So there you go, there's train lines as well, which are both, of course, traits of old world cities. So here we have, blah, 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 we have the golf course across the front, we have the man-made canals. And what do we have down here? No, what do you think about that? It's in the right position. Is that some kind of a remnant? We have these funny angles. There's no reason at all for these angles to be there by the look of it. Yeah, so what's that? And you see, this is the thing with golf courses, is they seem to use them to cover things up. What's this? Can't get a good picture of it. Oh yeah, okay, can we get down there? It probably won't let us. Yeah, no, it looks like it's industry or government. But yeah, what's that? There's some other little ruined thing there. We have imprints in the ground. That could be mowing, I don't know, but it could be. And then we have the golf course. And when you look at golf courses, they have lots of strange lines and angles on them. Obviously, they have lots of contours, ups and downs, good place to hide stuff if you want to destroy of an ancient civilization. And as you can see on the other side as well, just being wiped clean, but we get these lines in the ground. I mean, that doesn't look like a farm or anything, does it? Is that water? I don't know what that is. But you see, these funny angles and things, and look at this. Maybe that is water. No. Gosh, I'm not sure what's going on there, but strange, right? This looks like industry as well, they've built over, but it's just got that look. And you have all these sort of blanked out, strange shaped areas everywhere. So yeah, there you go. Just sort of show you that. Found it quite interesting because this is something I'm starting to notice, is just the layouts of, the town. A definite kind of layout. And if you can imagine, this would have been a star city. And I guess most of it's gone. Alrighty. Alright, so this is New South Wales, Queensland, and Victoria, aren't they? Aren't they good royal names? Queensland and Victoria. But down here, I've just been noticing now, where was I? I was at Nowra. So, This is a very similar laid out kind of town. As you can see, we have the river or canal going in here. We have a nice right angle here and the tributaries that sort of run off. Now these islands in the middle, these seem to be everywhere as well. Not sure what the deal is, but they seem to be around where the old world cities seem to have been located. And the other thing is, yeah, these shapes. I'm not sure what's going on, but they're everywhere. So this what they call billabongs and oxbow lakes. They tell us lakes that were formed by a river that was like this, and then over time the river, eats away because it wants to go forward, eats away at this shore and cuts through. And then this fills up and turns into a lake that's shaped like a sea or a crescent moon. That's what they tell us oxbow lakes and billabongs are. But, I mean, that really, why would this river form like this, if this is what they're telling us, it's all natural formation, and then suddenly you start to try and cut through here? I mean, look at the shape of this river. There's no straight lines here apart from these man-made ones. So yeah, that sort of falls apart, but you'll notice just these little bits everywhere. So this is just another layout, and of course, what do we have here, guys? Golf course, of course, right on the edge. And these are used, as I mentioned before, looks like they're used to cover up old civilizations. Now, just looking at this, doesn't seem to be a lot left. You can just see the streets, the way that the streets are laid out. They're all pretty much in squares. You can see a bit of underlying sort of funny shapes that they may have built around, but looks like there's not a lot left. A lot of Australia looks like it was, I mean, if you look at the centre, it looks like it was destroyed. But the outskirts look like they've just been, I don't know, wiped clean or buried or something. Because there doesn't, the major cities are still there, but a lot of these towns, you can sort of see the old sort of infrastructure, but as far as the buildings, they're all gone. So that's now I've just noticed those kind of features everywhere. Now this is Victoria, and this is Melbourne, and this is Port Phillip Bay. So a big natural bay. And if we have a look at Melbourne, you'll see again just lots of these shapes. There's a nice one there. Here's a big, huge golf course. I mean, this is in the middle of a pretty big city. But these sort of peninsula sort of type things, they seem to be, I don't know, everywhere. But what I really wanted to show you is, and also look at this. I mean, you can't tell me that's natural. Now that obviously they may say that was widened recently, and this is obviously a shipping port. But I mean, just look at these straight lines, even up here. Straight lines. Here's another one of those funny bends. And this is the thing, are rivers actually natural, or are they all? Because all old cities, or all cities, especially at least in Australia, they're all built on rivers. So what's that about? So down here, Star Fort. I'll just spin this around. And this is on the bottom tip of Australia, guys. And you can see the shape here. There it is. I mean, that's clearly, that's clearly a Star Fort. And like I say, it looks very buried, doesn't it? A lot of Australia looks really sort of buried still. But there's a Star Fort. We'll see if we can, might be able to get a bit of a look here. So I've got a piece of hair on my nose. Alright, of course, come on. Doesn't look like we're going to see a lot. No, it's all pretty much buried, but just look at the landscape as well. You can see, you know, these are walls that are buried. You can see the edge right there. See that? Oh, can I zoom in? See that kind of edge there? I don't know, it might be something to do with the fence, but you can see this is clearly, you know, there's something under there. This is, well, we can see on top, it's clearly buried. So that's that ridge we're looking at, and look at the shape of it. And this is Melbourne, so I did have, there was a few more I wanted to show down here, I think. I've changed the direction, so I don't know where I'm looking here. So this is Mornington. And of course, out on the edge, near the ocean, we have the remains of what looks like a star fort wall along here. Now, if we pull back, you can just sort of see, and of course they build over everything, but they tend to keep the same lines. I'm not sure if that's because there's walls under the ground that they can't get rid of, but you know, you can just see these, you know, the circles we see everywhere, these kind of funny angles that, you know, there's no real reason for. But if this was a star fort, it looks like half it's in the water. Now there was another one I wanted to show. Here we go. Melbourne, yeah, down here. And again, they're all on the water. All on the water. So here we go. Look at that. See this wall? All around there. And we have these circles. I'm not really sure what they are. They tell us that they're for cannons. Obviously, some of them have been retrofitted for cannons. But again, this is the bottom of Australia. The only thing south of here is Tasmania and Antarctica. Literally, like, what they tell us this was for World War II to defend, you know, against who? Like, literally, against who? There's no one coming down here, so it's just, the story's ridiculous. And we'll just have a bit of a look-see at what it looks like. Red brick. This in here clearly looks like a different brick. Looks like it's school time. Nice red brick building over there. And just this big brick wall. Interesting. I mean, it's hard to tell. Look at all these holes though, like these. What are they? They're all equidistant, like. That's just a feature that, why would you put that in this wall? Very strange. But as you can see, that was this front wall here. And it's clearly Old World Star Fort. And it must be this one. I was looking at one just the other day. Here's another one. Again, the same thing. All these sort of cannon, turrety things. Looks like we got, is it a tunnel? No, it's a turret. But you can just see again the whole sort of layout. And again, this is not the one I was looking for. Oh, okay. Alright. Right, couldn't find what that is. Fine. Let's now go to Adelaide. This is another capital city. Capital is in money, right? That's the all caps, all capitals. Straw man, because you've been capitalized. So this is Adelaide. This is called the City of Churches. Now, if you come down here, we have the water coming in. Is that the river? Yep. Or it's probably running the other way, actually, flowing out. But as you can see, coming in, and we have this. And look at the shape of that. Of course, we have these funny shapes again. And what's this? Golf course. And this golf course sort of goes all the way around. But can you see that shape? So here we have like, it's not perfect anymore, but you can see that was like probably an octagon. 8-sided maybe, 10-sided, but this is an old star city. This is the remnants of an old star city. These, you know, the golf course is a big telling sign that things have been covered up. The water, these canals are just a feature. You know, they're everywhere. It's always the same. These same winding, snaky bits and this bit, and cities built right on them. And normally on a wider bit, they sort of widen it where the city is. They always cross over the water as well. And you can see this. Look at that road. See that? That would be the old shape, the old wall right there. You can see it. I mean, there's no reason for them to just cut that road across, you know, through a golf course. Okay, and it comes up, and yeah, that's an old star city. Doesn't look like there's, oh, here we go. Might be a few old buildings in there too. Let's just have a quick look. Alright, so here we go, Adelaide, and there you go. Look at that. Okay, so, old world buildings, anyone? Clearly mud flooded. Red brick, you know, this finishing that we see everywhere, the arches, the pillars, I mean, that's just classic, right? So these star cities, they're everywhere. They've just been built over. So how far underground does that thing go as well? Just going to run up through these cars, but as you can see, we've got another big building here. Look at that. Oh, that's not very good. Okay, so here's the front. I mean, classic, right? Porticos, pillars, everything in symmetry, red brick, porthole up there, or portal maybe. What have we got, like a star shape in there? Of course, we've got, you know, this sort of leafy, floral stuff we see everywhere, these kind of drapiness, you know, statues. Here it is again. Of course, they've, you know, rebranded it with Australian government stuff, but clearly an old world building. And so this is what we're looking at, and this stuff is everywhere. See, this is all old world construction. I mean, look at that bit of shore, how straight that is. Clearly, it's all man-made. That's cement, you know, that's rock stone walls or something. And then in the middle here, and of course we get these shapes that we see everywhere. And these shapes, they look a lot like baseball diamonds, don't they? So, yeah, is that another cover-up?
Look at that. Just old world buildings, and you know, these are turned into apartments. You know, they always put the these little verandas on to change the look. But I mean, that these buildings, you know, they could be in any city of the world, literally. All right, so that's One Star City in the middle of Adelaide. There it is. And there's another one down here. And this is a star fort. This bit is interesting. What's under there? Bit of a wall. Something raised under the ground by the looks of it. And then we get this. It's the wrong way there. Look at that. Looks like, you know, like a cavalier, like an extension of a star fort. Just sitting out there in the middle of nowhere. Of course, down here we have some parklands with funny shapes in the ground. And just here, you know, just angled roads sort of for no reason, you know. Horseshoes, funny angles. It's just got that look. Now, let's see if we can get a closer squeeze. Oh, they're not going to let us in. See what we can see from the street. Nothing. And again, how much does this look like the one we saw in Melbourne? You know, just raised. You can see that's raised. Just all scrubbed down on the beach. And of course, they don't want us to see too much. Alright, so that is Adelaide, and I just thought we'd quickly go across and have a look at Perth, which is where I am currently sitting. So this is Australia, and as you can see, something big happened in the middle of Australia, because there's nothing left. Like, it's just desert. You know, a lot of people think Australia is this huge landmass, and it is, but it's just, you know, 70-80% of it is uninhabitable, basically. So this is Western Australia, and this is Perth. So it's actually the most isolated city in the world, which is kind of weird at this point in time. You know, that I've mentioned a few times, it feels like I'm just sitting back here watching the world. You know, because I am, like, we're the most isolated city. As you can see, nothing but ocean out here. And that's actually the border of Western Australia. Now, to drive from Perth to the border, you're looking at about 3 days in a car. So we're pretty isolated out here. This is Perth. And as you can see, the old level of land, and then it drops off, and you can even see an old river in there. This is Rottnest Island, named by the Dutch because we have quokkas on there, which are little marsupials, and the Dutch thought they were giant rats, so they called it Rat's Nest. And in Dutch, I think that is Rottnest. Okay, so Perth, as you can see, straight away got one of these shapes with some islands. Look at that. Okay, that is, look at that right angle. Okay, you're going to tell me that's natural. I have another bit of a right angle there. This is Kings Park. Here we have an island in the middle and these shapes again. And of course, what's around that shape? Golf course. This is horse racing and sort of parklands and stadiums and things, so all sort of built over, and a lot of it, the time they just use sort of parklands as well. This isn't a golf course, they're just sort of parklands. But isn't it interesting that on that shape again we get these golf courses? And this is Perth City. That's it. And there's just a couple of churches I wanted to show you. Where am I? Here, I think. Let's have a look. No, that's the wrong street. Okay, so we have... Oh, it's because I'm facing the wrong way. Bear with me. Okay, we shall move the earth. All right, there we go. So this again, this is called Supreme Court Gardens. So we have, all government buildings in here, and you can just see these things, these shapes in the ground. Circles everywhere. There's another one there. And just, sort of parklands. So who knows what's actually under all that. This is obviously an old world building, and then there's new world buildings as well. And across the road, these are churches. As you can see, they always have this cross, the cathedrals in them. And if we go down and have a look, Perth built founded kind of 1838, 1840. All this stuff, was supposed to be built in the 60s to 80s, I guess. And as you can see, this is just old world. I'm on the wrong side of the street. How do I get over there? But as you can see, this is an old world church. Oh, come on, guys. How do I get there? Okay. Oh, God. Okay, can you see that church? Steps going up. Clearly old world. Clearly, buried right off the ground. Look at the levels there. We have this huge tower in the background. And then we have this church, which, as you'll see, is down on ground level. And look at this. The stairs literally go up the side of the building. And so this is on ground level, and this is like at least a story higher on the ground. So this is buried, and then we've got this big old tower. And this is, obviously, they've knocked most of Perth, the old buildings down, but we still do have quite a few of them. Oh, come on, Google Earth. Okay, it's not liking me. Okay, here we go. So just here you can see another building with a huge steeple on it. Well, oh gosh. See here. Another steeple there. Clearly old world. And that again is, I'm pretty sure they're calling that a church now. Interesting, right? Church. Church. And another church. Why would you need three churches that close to each other? And this again, looking a bit sort of low in the ground. So, there we go. So I just wanted to sort of show you that there's old world cities everywhere, and the markers are still there. And this whole questioning rivers. I mean, just look at this. Just look at... I mean, this is the port. This is Fremantle Port. Okay, so this would have been done recently, and they would tell us they've done that recently to get ships in. But ships don't go. There's a bridge there. They don't go past there. They can't. And look at that. Look at this. It's like fully cut out. So very interesting. And you can see, the ground levels were much different. We have all these islands off. And so I'm going to leave it there, and I am going to get into Fremantle. As we can see, golf courses, maybe a star fort, but there is a lot of interesting stuff in Fremantle. Lots of old world buildings, prisons that were built by the convicts to then lock themselves in. Lots of interesting and strange stories. Alright guys, so yeah, I hope you enjoyed that one. And as I said at the start, this was, UAP mentioned that there were columns that used to have mechanics in them, and they were turning, statues of angels and things, and it all seemed to have been connected up and where people got their information, and it was all based on, astrology and sort of natural earth changes and energies and living in harmony. So was all this stuff run off water? This is what I'm thinking. Was it all run off water? Because we know that star forts are definitely some kind of, there's something to do with water. There's some kind of, I don't know, pumping station maybe. But yeah, I just think that water, I think that all these canals, all this water, and obviously we've got the phonies who have all their sort of maritime stuff. But as everything, everything that they find that's ours, that we've created, they turn it upside down and turn it against us. So this could be the same thing, because clearly every city seems to be on water, or was, and we've got all these man-made canals everywhere. We've got star forts that are definitely linked to water. So I'm just thinking that somehow the water was going through to the fountains, and it was also running all the cogs and everything through these columns to give the news. And I've got some more information I'll sort of get out in another video on why I believe that, but I'll just leave it at that for you to have a ponder on at the moment. Was this all made, and was it a lot more water based? Was that sort of running a lot of the tech back in the day? All right, there you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed that little wander across Australia. Thanks for spending some time with me. Oh, that's Kitty saying goodbye. And of course, please like, subscribe, share, hit the bell. With YouTube and all their stuff, they actually took down 25,000 channels in the last week. So with everything going on, the more you can share this, the more obviously we can get this information out there. Obviously, this is also up on Bitchute and Library, so check out those, subscribe to those channels just in case something happens to this one. And if you do want to support me, there are links below as well. Alright guys, have a spectacular day, and I shall talk to you all soon. Bye for now.